Asking about store opening hours. Welcome to English Listening Time. Today, we're going to dive deep into the topic of asking about store opening hours. This might seem like a simple subject, but it's actually a crucial skill for navigating daily life, especially in English-speaking countries. Whether you're a tourist exploring a new city, a student studying abroad, or someone who's just moved to a new neighborhood, knowing how to ask about store hours can save you time and frustration. So, let's get started on this journey to improve your English and make your shopping experiences smoother. Part 1. The basics of asking about store hours. Let's begin with the most fundamental phrases you'll need. Imagine you're standing in front of a store, and you're not sure if it's open. What do you say? Here are some basic phrases that will come in handy. What time do you open? What time do you close? Are you open on Sundays? What are your hours? When do you close today? These simple questions are your first line of defense against the dreaded experience of arriving at a closed store. But let's break them down a bit more. When you ask, "What time do you open?" you're inquiring about the start of the business day. This is particularly useful if you're an early bird and want to be one of the first customers of the day. On the flip side, "What time do you close?" helps you plan your visit if you're running late or want to do some last-minute shopping. The question, "Are you open on Sundays?" is more specific. In many countries, especially in the Western world, some stores have different hours on Sundays, and some may not open at all. This question can save you from a wasted trip on your day off. "What are your hours?" is a catch-all question that can give you a complete picture of when the store is open throughout the week. And lastly, "When do you close today?" is perfect for those times when you're not sure if it's a regular day or if the store might be closing early for some reason. Remember, these phrases are just the beginning. As we continue, we'll explore more specific and nuanced ways to ask about store hours. Part 2. Asking about specific days or holidays. Now that we've covered the basics, let's move on to more specific situations. Sometimes you need to know about a store's hours on a particular day or during holidays. This is especially important if you're planning ahead or if you're in a country where you're not familiar with the local holidays. Here are some phrases you can use. What are your hours on Saturday? Are you open on Christmas Day? Do you have different hours on holidays? When do you close on New Year's Eve? Are your hours the same every day? Let's think about why these questions are important. Many stores have different hours on weekends. They might open later and close earlier on Saturdays, and have completely different hours on Sundays. By asking, "What are your hours on Saturday?" you're making sure you don't show up too early or too late. Holidays can be even trickier. In many countries, stores close completely on major holidays like Christmas Day. But what about other holidays? That's why asking, "Are you open on Christmas Day?" or "Do you have different hours on holidays?" can be so crucial. You don't want to run out of milk on a holiday only to find that every store is closed. Questions like, "When do you close on New Year's Eve?" are perfect for those special days when stores often have unusual hours. Many shops close early on New Year's Eve, so this question could save you from missing out on your party supplies. Lastly, "Are your hours the same every day?" is a great general question that can give you a lot of information quickly. If the answer is yes, you're all set for the week. If it's no, you know to ask for more details. Part 3. Asking about special services or departments. As we delve deeper into the world of store hours, we need to consider that many stores, especially larger ones, have different departments or offer special services. These departments or services might have their own unique hours, separate from the main store. This is where our next set of phrases comes in handy. What time does the pharmacy open? Until what time is the deli counter open? When does the customer service desk close? Are the fitting rooms open all day? What are the hours for the returns department? Let's paint a picture to understand why these questions are important. Imagine you're not feeling well, and you need to pick up a prescription. You check online and see that the supermarket is open until 10 p.m. Great! But wait, what if the pharmacy inside the supermarket closes earlier? This is why asking, "What time does the pharmacy open?" is so important. The pharmacy might have shorter hours than the main store, and knowing this could save you a useless trip. The same goes for other specialized services within a store. The deli counter in a supermarket, for instance, might close earlier than the rest of the store. If you're planning to pick up some freshly sliced meat or cheese for dinner, knowing when the deli counter closes could be crucial. Customer service desks often have their own hours too. If you need to return an item or have a question about a product, you'll want to make sure the customer service desk is open when you visit. That's why asking, "When does the customer service desk close?" can be so helpful. Fitting rooms are another area where hours can vary. In some stores, fitting rooms close a bit earlier than the main store to allow time for cleanup. If you're planning a big clothes shopping trip, you might want to ask, "Are the fitting rooms open all day?" to avoid disappointment. And let's not forget about returns. Many stores have a separate returns department, and knowing its hours can save you time and frustration. What are the hours for the returns department? Is a question that can help you plan your visit efficiently. Part 4. Asking about online services. In today's digital age, we can't talk about store hours without mentioning online services. Many stores now have an online presence, and understanding how these online services operate can be just as important as knowing the physical store hours. Here are some questions you might need to ask. Is your online store always open? What time do you process online orders? When is your customer service chat available? Do you have 24-hour online support? What time do you update your website with new products? These questions reflect the complexity of modern shopping. While many online stores are technically open 24/7 in the sense that you can browse and place orders at any time, other aspects of their service might have specific hours. For instance, when you ask, "What time do you process online orders?" you're trying to understand when your order will actually be handled by a human and start its journey to you. This can be especially important if you need an item quickly. Customer service for online stores is another area where hours can vary. Some stores offer 24-hour support, while others have specific hours for their customer service chat or phone lines. Knowing these hours can be crucial if you run into issues with your order or have questions about a product. The question, "What time do you update your website with new products?" might seem less common, but it can be very useful if you're eager to snag new items as soon as they become available. Some online stores update their inventory at specific times, and knowing this can give you an advantage in getting popular items before they sell out. Part 5. Seasonal changes in store hours. As we continue our exploration of store hours, we need to talk about how they can change with the seasons. Many stores adjust their hours based on the time of year, often extending them during busy shopping seasons and reducing them during slower periods. Here are some questions you might ask about seasonal changes. Do your hours change in the summer? What are your winter hours? Are you open later during the holiday season? When do your summer hours start? Do you have extended hours for back-to-school shopping? Understanding seasonal changes in store hours can be really helpful for planning your shopping trips. For example, many stores extend their hours during the holiday season in December to accommodate the rush of Christmas shoppers. Knowing this, you might ask, "Are you open later during the holiday season?" to plan your gift buying. On the other hand, some stores might have shorter hours during the slower winter months after the holiday rush. That's when asking, "What are your winter hours?" can come in handy. Summer is another time when store hours often change. Some stores, especially in tourist areas, might stay open later to cater to vacation crowds. Others might close earlier to give their staff more time to enjoy the long summer evenings. Either way, asking, "Do your hours change in the summer?" can help you stay informed. The back-to-school season is another time when many stores extend their hours. Parents and students often need extra time to shop for school supplies, clothes, and dorm room essentials. Asking, "Do you have extended hours for back-to-school shopping?" can help you plan these important shopping trips. Remember, Seasonal changes in store hours can vary greatly depending on the type of store and its location. A beach shop in a tourist town will have very different seasonal patterns than a ski equipment store in a mountain resort area. Always ask if you're not sure. Part 6. Early birds and night owls asking about extended hours. Now, let's talk about those times when you need to shop outside of the typical 9 to 5 hours. Whether you're an early bird who likes to get things done first thing in the morning, or a night owl who prefers to shop after dark, knowing how to ask about extended hours is crucial. Here are some questions that can help. What's the earliest I can shop here? Do you have any early morning hours? Are there any days when you're open late? Do you have extended hours for night owls? Can I shop here before I go to work? These questions are particularly useful for people with non-standard schedules or those who prefer to avoid the busiest shopping times. Let's break them down a bit. Asking, "What's the earliest I can shop here?" or "Do you have any early morning hours?" can be a lifesaver for early risers. Some stores, particularly supermarkets or gyms, may open very early to cater to customers who want to shop or work out before heading to their jobs. On the flip side, night owls might want to know about late hours. Are there any days when you're open late? Is a great question for finding out if the store has any extended evening hours. Some stores stay open late 1 or 2 nights a week to accommodate shoppers who can't make it during regular business hours. The question, "Do you have extended hours for night owls?" might seem a bit informal, but it's a friendly way to ask if the store caters to late night shoppers. This could be particularly relevant in areas with a lot of shift workers or in cities that never sleep. Lastly, "Can I shop here before I go to work?" is a practical question for those trying to fit their shopping into a busy schedule. The answer to this can help you plan your mornings more efficiently. Remember, extended hours can vary greatly from store to store and may change seasonally, so it's always good to check, even if you've shopped somewhere before. Part 7. Lunch breaks and midday closures. In many parts of the world, especially in smaller towns or in countries with a siesta culture, stores might close for a lunch break or have a midday closure. This can be surprising if you're not used to it, so it's good to know how to ask about these breaks. Here are some useful questions. Do you close for lunch? Are you open all day, or do you have a midday break? What time do you reopen after lunch? Do all your departments stay open during lunch hours? Is there a time during the day when you're closed? These questions can save you from the frustration of arriving at a store only to find a "Close for lunch" sign on the door. Let's look at why each of these questions is important. Do you close for lunch? Is a straightforward way to find out if the store has a midday break. In some cultures, it's common for smaller businesses to close for an hour or two in the middle of the day, allowing staff to have lunch or rest. The question, "Are you open all day, or do you have a midday break?" gives the store employee a chance to explain their schedule in more detail. They might tell you that they're closed from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., for example. If you know the store closes for lunch but you're not sure when they reopen, "What time do you reopen after lunch?" is the perfect question to ask. This way, you can plan your return visit accurately. In larger stores, not all departments may close for lunch. That's why asking, "Do all your departments stay open during lunch hours?" can be helpful. You might find that while the main store remains open, certain services like the deli counter or customer service desk close for a short period. Lastly, "Is there a time during the day when you're closed?" is a catch-all question that can reveal any midday closures or other unusual breaks in the store's hours. Understanding these midday breaks can be particularly important if you're traveling in a country with different customs than your own. In some Mediterranean countries, for example, it's common for businesses to close for a few hours in the afternoon when the day is hottest, reopening later in the evening when it's cooler. Part 8. 24-hour services and always open businesses. In our 24/7 world, some businesses never close. This can be incredibly convenient, but it's not always clear which businesses offer round-the-clock service. Here are some questions you can ask to find out about 24-hour services. Are you open 24 hours? Do you ever close? Can I shop here at any time? Are all your services available 24/7? Do you have different hours for different days, or are you always open? These questions are particularly useful for essential services like pharmacies, gas stations, or convenience stores. Let's explore why each of these questions is important. Are you open 24 hours? Is the most direct way to ask if a business never closes. This is great for places like supermarkets or gyms that might offer round-the-clock service. Some businesses might say they're always open, but they might actually close for a short period for cleaning or restocking. That's why asking, "Do you ever close?" can give you more precise information. "Can I shop here at any time?" is another way to ask about 24-hour service, but it also invites the employee to mention any restrictions. For example, they might say, "Yes, but our deli counter closes at midnight." Not all services in a 24-hour business may be available around the clock. Asking, "Are all your services available 24/7?" can help you understand if there are any limitations. For instance, a 24-hour supermarket might not have staff at the butcher counter overnight. Lastly, "Do you have different hours for different days, or are you always open?" allows for a more detailed answer. Some businesses might be open 24 hours on weekdays but have limited hours on weekends, for example. Remember, even if a business is open 24 hours, the atmosphere and available services might be different late at night or very early in the morning. There might be fewer staff members, or certain departments might be closed. It's always good to ask for specifics if you're planning a visit during unusual hours. Part 9. Last entry and shopping cutoff times. Sometimes, a store's closing time isn't the whole story. Many businesses, especially larger ones, have a last entry time or a cutoff time for starting your shopping. This is to ensure that all customers can finish their shopping and check out before the store closes. Here are some questions you can ask about these policies. What's the latest I can enter the store? Do you have a last entry time? If I come in just before closing, how long can I stay? What time do you stop letting new customers in? Is there a cutoff time for starting shopping? These questions are particularly important if you're planning to do some last-minute shopping. Let's explore why each of these questions is useful. What's the latest I can enter the store? Directly asks about the last entry time. This might be different from the closing time listed on the door. For example, a store that closes at 9 p.m. might stop letting new customers in at 8:45 p.m. Do you have a last entry time? Is another way to ask the same question, but it might prompt the employee to give you more details about their policy. If you're cutting it close to closing time, asking, "If I come in just before closing, how long can I stay?" can help you understand the store's expectations. Some stores might allow you to finish your shopping even if it takes you past the official closing time, while others might be stricter. "What time do you stop letting new customers in?" is a very clear way to ask about the last entry time. This phrasing might be easier for some English learners to remember. Lastly, "Is there a cutoff time for starting shopping?" can reveal if the store has any policies about how close to closing time you can begin your shopping trip. Some stores might not allow customers to start a big shopping trip just before closing, for example. Understanding these policies can help you avoid the embarrassment of being rushed out of a store or the frustration of not being able to complete your shopping. It's especially important to be aware of these rules when you're shopping in a new place or a different country, as policies can vary widely. Part 10. Store hours in different locations. In our increasingly globalized world, many businesses have multiple locations. This can sometimes lead to confusion about store hours, as different branches might have different operating times. Here are some questions you can ask to clarify hours for different locations. Do all your stores have the same hours? What are the hours for your downtown location? Are your mall stores open longer than your street locations? Do your hours vary by location? Which of your stores is open the latest? These questions are particularly useful when dealing with chain stores or businesses with multiple branches. Let's explore why each of these questions is important. Asking, "Do all your stores have the same hours?" is a good starting point. It lets you know whether you need to check the hours for each location individually or if you can assume they're all the same. What are the hours for your downtown location? Is useful when you're interested in a specific branch. Downtown stores often have different hours from suburban locations, sometimes staying open later to cater to after-work shoppers or tourists. The question, are your mall stores open longer than your street locations? Recognizes that stores in different settings might have different hours. Mall stores often stay open as long as the mall itself is open, which might be later than standalone stores. Do your hours vary by location? Is another way to ask if you need to check hours for each store individually. This might prompt the employee to give you more detailed information about how and why hours might differ between locations. Lastly, which of your stores is open the latest? Can be very helpful if you're looking to do some late-night shopping and are flexible about which location you visit. Remember, even within the same chain, store hours can vary based on local customs, laws, or business needs. A store in a busy city center might have very different hours from a similar store in a quiet suburban area. Part 11. Seasonal businesses and tourism. Some businesses operate seasonally or have significantly different hours depending on the tourist season. This is particularly common in resort towns, beach areas, or places with extreme weather conditions. Here are some questions you might need to ask about seasonal operations. Are you open year-round? When does your peak season start and end? Do you have different hours during the tourist season? Are you closed during the off-season? When do you start your winter/summer hours? These questions can be crucial if you're visiting an area during its off-season or if you're planning a trip during peak times. Let's break down why each of these questions is useful. Are you open year-round? Is a fundamental question for seasonal businesses. Some shops or attractions in tourist areas might close completely during the off-season. Asking, when does your peak season start and end? Can give you an idea of when to expect extended hours, and possibly higher prices or larger crowds. Do you have different hours during the tourist season? Acknowledges that even businesses that stay open year-round might adjust their hours based on demand. Many places extend their hours during busy seasons to accommodate more customers. Are you closed during the off-season? Is important for very seasonal businesses. For example, a beachside ice cream shop might close entirely during the winter months. Lastly, when do you start your winter/summer hours? Can help you plan if you're visiting during a transitional period. Some businesses might change their hours quite suddenly when the season changes. Understanding seasonal changes in business hours can greatly enhance your travel experiences and help you avoid disappointment. Part 12. Special events and unusual circumstances. Sometimes stores may have special hours due to events or unusual circumstances. This could be due to holidays, local festivals, or even unexpected situations like renovations or staff shortages. Here are some questions you might need to ask. Do you have special hours for the upcoming holiday? Will your hours change during the festival next week? Are you open during the parade? Have your hours been affected by the ongoing renovations? Do you close early on days when there are special events in town? These questions can help you navigate shopping during non-standard times. Let's explore each one. Do you have special hours for the upcoming holiday? Is crucial for planning around holidays. Many stores extend their hours before major holidays and may close or have reduced hours on the actual holiday. Asking, will your hours change during the festival next week? Recognizes that local events can impact store hours. Some stores might stay open later to cater to festival goers, while others might close early if the event affects their usual customer traffic. Are you open during the parade? Is a specific question that might be relevant in towns that have major parades or events that could disrupt normal business operations. Have your hours been affected by the ongoing renovations? Acknowledges that construction or remodeling work might lead to changes in operating hours. Some stores might open later or close earlier to accommodate work being done. Lastly, do you close early on days when there are special events in town? Can help you plan if you're in an area that frequently hosts events that might impact local businesses. Being aware of these special circumstances can help you avoid surprises and plan your shopping more effectively. Part 13: Emergency Services and Late Night Options. In some situations, you might need to find services that are available late at night or in emergencies. This could be for health reasons, car troubles, or other urgent needs. Here are some questions that might be useful in these scenarios. Is there a 24-hour pharmacy nearby? Do you know of any late-night grocery stores in this area? Are there any emergency dental services available after hours? Which gas stations in this area are open all night? Is there a 24-hour auto repair shop around here? These questions can be crucial in urgent situations. Let's break them down. Is there a 24-hour pharmacy nearby? Is important if you need medication urgently outside of regular business hours. Asking, do you know of any late-night grocery stores in this area? Can be helpful if you need to buy essential items late at night. Are there any emergency dental services available after hours? Could be crucial if you're experiencing severe dental pain outside of regular dentist hours. Which gas stations in this area are open all night? Is useful information for travelers or anyone who might need fuel or basic supplies late at night. Is there a 24-hour auto repair shop around here? Could be a lifesaver if your car breaks down late at night or early in the morning. Knowing how to ask about these services can be incredibly helpful in stressful situations, especially if you're in an unfamiliar area. Part 14: Cultural Differences in Store Hours. As we wrap up our extensive exploration of asking about store hours, it's important to touch on cultural differences. Store hours can vary significantly from country to country, and even between different regions within the same country. Here are some questions that can help you navigate these differences. Is it common for stores to close for a siesta here? Do most shops stay open late in this country? Are stores typically open on Sundays in this area? Is it normal for businesses to close early on certain days of the week here? Do religious observances affect store hours in this region? These questions can help you understand and adapt to local customs. Let's explore each one. Is it common for stores to close for a siesta here? Is relevant in countries where an afternoon break is customary. In some places, many businesses close for a few hours in the afternoon and reopen later. Asking, do most shops stay open late in this country? Can give you an idea of local shopping habits. In some cultures, it's common for stores to stay open well into the evening, while in others, early closing times are the norm. Are stores typically open on Sundays in this area? Is important because Sunday opening hours can vary widely between countries and even between cities within the same country. Is it normal for businesses to close early on certain days of the week here? Can help you plan your shopping. In some places, stores might close early one day a week for restocking or to give employees a break. Lastly, do religious observances affect store hours in this region? Is crucial in areas where religious practices significantly impact daily life. For example, stores might close earlier on Fridays in predominantly Muslim areas or have different hours during religious holidays. Understanding these cultural differences can greatly enhance your travel experiences and help you avoid frustration when shopping in unfamiliar places. Conclusion. Wow! We've covered a lot of ground in our exploration of asking about store hours. From basic phrases to complex scenarios involving seasonal changes, cultural differences, and emergency situations, you now have a comprehensive toolkit for navigating store hours in English-speaking countries and beyond. Remember, the key to using these phrases effectively is practice. Don't be afraid to use them in real-life situations. Store employees are usually happy to help and will appreciate your efforts to speak English. Also, keep in mind that while these phrases are helpful, they're just the beginning of your conversations. Be prepared to ask follow-up questions if you need clarification, and always thank the person for their help. As you continue your English learning journey, you'll find that mastering practical skills like asking about store hours not only improves your language abilities, but also makes your daily life easier and more enjoyable. Thank you for joining us for this extended English listening time session. We hope you found it helpful and that it boosts your confidence in real-world English conversations. Keep practicing, stay curious, and happy shopping!